Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartiya, and welcome to another episode of TFR Newsroom. And today we have with us once again Zachary Smith, Head of Edge Infrastructure at Equinix. Zach, it's great to have you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Swapnil.
It's my pleasure. And today we're going to talk about Orange's, you can call it partnership or extended partnership with Equinix to deploy their telco cloud points of presence or POP technology, leveraging Equinix Metal. But before we talk about this specific announcement, I want to just go a bit into the history relationship you folks already have with Orange, and how do you folks help them?
Wow, yeah, I mean, it's been an incredible partnership. We've been working with Orange Telecom for over 20 years. So the partnership between Equinix and Orange goes back almost as long as the founding of our company. And the reason why we've worked so closely together is because Platform Equinix, which is the kind of largest platform for digital infrastructure in the world, has a mission really to provide neutral ecosystem access to different networks and clouds and enterprise customers and other ecosystems. And so Orange realized that very, very early on in our history and invested heavily in bringing their networks, including their landline, global telecom networks, and wireless networks, to Platform Equinix. It created a place where they could meet enterprise customers, cloud applications, and their counterparties in a very efficient manner. So we've been working on that for over 20 years, deploying additional services together. Equinix leaning on Orange's ecosystem and technology, as well as Orange investing deeply in the interconnected ecosystem at Equinix. And so this is just the next phase of us continuing to figure out how to innovate together for our customers.
Let's talk about this specific announcement. First of all, what are POPs? And once again, it's kind of strange to ask why they choose Equinix, because as you explained, but let's just get into this announcement and get it out of the way so we can dive deep into other topics.
Well, we love in our world lots of acronyms. So for POPs, this would be points of presence. And what's groundbreaking here is not that networks are having points of presence where they can meet their counterparties. What we're doing now is doing it in a virtualized manner. So over the past few years, Equinix has been investing very heavily in our digital services. What that means is with Equinix active in over 240 data centers across almost 70 markets, the physical and global reach of the platform is immense. And so we've been building digital services that allow our customers and partners like Orange to deploy and leverage Platform Equinix in minutes versus months or years. And so what we've built are things like Equinix Metal and Network Edge and Fabric that allow our customers to virtually deploy the physical infrastructure that they need in Equinix locations around the world. And so what Orange has been trying to do is move to over 160 locations for their next-gen network. And they needed to create these virtual points of presence in so many places and so quickly that they came to Equinix saying, hey, how could we leverage the digital infrastructure primitives that Equinix has been creating to do that programmatically in a fully virtualized manner? So in short, Orange is building virtualized POPs. So they're able to build a point of presence for their network without ever stepping foot in an Equinix data center.
If you can talk about the locations, where you folks are getting started, and they are going to expand to a lot of locations. If you can also just give a glimpse of where you folks will be there.
Well, Orange is a global platform, and so we started first very close to some of Orange's main network POPs, and initially we'll be deploying and supporting them across the world. So first in Amsterdam, and then Madrid, and also in Seattle. So spanning a couple time zones. We've helped enable their virtual POP in many locations, and we aim to support them on their goal to go to 160 markets around the world. Those might not all be with Equinix, but we're very confident that we can help them scale very efficiently, and meeting a lot of the markets that we've enabled across our platform. Today, Equinix Metal and Network Edge are available in almost 30 markets around the world. As we continue to invest in Platform Equinix, we hope that will be every single one of those beautiful little red pins on the map.
Their ambition is to at least reach 100 POPs by 2024. Is ambitious plan. Can you also talk about, you folks have client, customer, user base in different industries. how unique are the challenges for network operators, carriers
Yeah.
versus a lot of other folks who are using your technologies?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that you haven't seen as big of a movement from network service providers and carriers to cloud technologies simply because of the incredible demand that moving, trillions of packets or hundreds of gigabits of mission critical traffic, whether it's for a 4G or 5G voice network, for carriers that drive our Zoom traffic to our offices, to emergency networks. This is really, really critical infrastructure, and it's doing a high amount of performance. And so, what has traditionally been the barrier is to deploy these kind of highly production, mission critical, high performance services in a fully software enabled way. So generally, you would rely on very, very specific hardware using very specific kind of deployment methodologies. So it's hard to bring in that agility that Orange is looking for the virtualized deployment. The unique thing about Equinix and Orange working together is Equinix provides physical single tenant digital infrastructure connected to thousands of different networks, including Orange's backbone and their partners. And so we're able to help them use our APIs to spin up physical infrastructure just like they would do in physical colocation, but to do so in minutes, not months. They're then able to invest their time and energy on improving and hardening the software deployment of their virtual point of presence to move their carrier grade traffic.
As earlier, you touched upon some of the use cases. It could be mission critical. First of all, with carriers, we don't know who is using in what capacity. Even
Exactly.
modern Tesla cars, they get connected to the network as well. If I ask you, with this partnership, what will be the impact on end users who use Orange's services? That would be great to hear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Orange is on a mission to go to, all these points of presence throughout the world, mainly to reduce latency and improve performance for next generation applications. I think we all know that we're in this highly connected, technology enabled world right now. And what that's causing is that's causing network providers like Orange to move their interconnection and virtual services to the edge. They're trying to lower latency, get it closer to the end user, whether that end user is, you trying to leverage or download off of your mobile phone, or a car that's trying to consume or provide data back into the network, or the various services that we rely upon connected to networks as all facets of our life. So in order to increase that performance and lower the cost, you have to move that interconnection point to the edge. And so this is really what it's going to do, is enable low latency, high performance applications off of Orange's network for their consumer and business customers.
Since you mentioned Edge, and we have been talking about this, with Equinix earlier as well. First of all, talk about, the evolution of Edge you have seen, because Edge is not the Edge that we used to talk about 5 years ago. And also, when you're moving a lot of workloads, from, you can say centralized data center to Edge, 5G is coming, which is private 5G is, taking things even further. So talk about, how is Equinix kind of metal enabling, carriers, other operators to kind of make Edge not only smarter but more efficient, where you can do a lot of things at the edge itself without having to send a lot of things to the data center. There are so many, latencies. This could be privacy, and a lot of regulations could be a reason too.
Yeah. Well, there's a big movement towards moving the intelligence towards the edge of the network. Instead of bringing all this data, from out in, the end user, where the device or the action or the, kind of data is coming from, all the way back to some core location, how can you move some of that processing and intelligence and activity closer? Now, here at Equinix, we believe that our role to play in the edge is by providing easier access to metro density. And so what we have is 70 highly interconnected markets around the world where, from our perspective, it's not about can you get the closest to an end user, but can you be closest to the end users with all of your partners and networks around you. And so where's the right density where you can get access to the right amount of ecosystems, content, physical infrastructure to do the application work that you need. And so our strategy right now is how to make it easier for our customers to access platform Equinix. Like I said, 70 markets everywhere from now Africa, in Nigeria, Peru, Australia, the Nordics. We have such a huge global platform, and with supply chain, global logistics, and just the pure time that it takes to deploy across something like that, our job right now with digital infrastructure is to remove that friction. So make it easy to take a primitive like Equinix Metal, which is physical hardware single tenant, orchestrate that and automate it with network instances or interconnection to be able to build the infrastructure of your choice faster, easier, and more programmatic at the edge.
We talked about technology. I also want to quickly talk about the business model, because once again, technologies are getting complicated. Everybody wants access to those, and there is already a skill shortage. So do you also see the evolution of business model where we are moving more as a service kind of model, where you really don't have to worry about managing, dealing with the infrastructure yourself? So what kind of future you see in this space, where folks can leverage these technologies without having to worry about a lot of debt that comes with that?
Yeah, well, I think that it's pretty obvious that businesses and customers want outcomes. And so they are looking not for a vendor to sell them something, they're looking for a partner to help deliver an outcome with them. And so we believe, and Equinix has always practiced a kind of as a service business model since we were founded in 1998. You don't have to build the world's best data center with all the right partners to have access to one. We can give you access to one and help you to be successful there. We're doing the same thing with our digital services. But I think what's fascinating is how that's permeating throughout the industry. You see OEM partners like HP GreenLake and Dell Apex bringing as a service offerings of their hardware and their unique technology at Equinix. You see software companies like VMware moving to as a service models like VMC. And so it's really nice to see that, hey, the technology ecosystem is coming around and helping partners, whether those are very sophisticated operators like Orange or enterprise customers, to access technology as a service. And we're really proud to be an operator partner of physical infrastructure on behalf of so many of those. But I think there's something else that is really I think even maybe more fundamental and groundbreaking here, which is that as people move more to as a service, we're talking about a circular economy where there's just a huge focus, and this is where Orange and Equinix really align from a core values perspective, on sustainability. We not only want to do well as a business, we want to do well for our planet and for our communities that we service. And we know as part of that is creating a vision towards net zero IT. In our world, that's a science-based target towards carbon neutrality in our operations by 2030. For Orange, they have a goal, I believe it's for 2040 around net zero on their telecom side or across their business. And I think that what that means is we need more help across the value chain, delivering the right thing in the right place at the right time. What did we all learn in grade school? Reduce, reuse, recycle. How can we use the right amount of infrastructure service at the right time? How can we do it more efficiently? And then how can we recycle it and reuse it towards another use case? And so I think that's all part of moving towards a more circular economy for IT. I think what we're doing here with Orange represents a relatively major step towards doing that for telecom and 5G.
When we look at as a service, we look at hyperscaler, public cloud providers. Those can tend to be very, very opinionated. But as folks do want access to cloud native like environment, but they do want some control, some flexibility. How do you? And as we move further and we move towards as a service model, there will be folks or a company like Orange or even a smaller player, they would want some control over their infrastructure. How do you see that space, and how do you give customers, users that flexibility without compromising on the infrastructure? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We believe in kind of an overarching theme called hybrid multi-cloud, which is that enterprises and businesses, whether they're service providers or building a product or service for a consumer, their technology needs are diverse. And we haven't seen businesses move towards kind of a one size fits all technology approach. There's just constant innovation, there's needs within the business, there's optimizations, there's different ways that companies and enterprises need to use technology. And so, I bring this back to kind of Equinix founding, which is our name stands for equality and neutrality in the internet exchange. And to me, that really means choice, right? Which is how can we offer kind of a fundamental advantage around infrastructure operations, long tail capital deployment, sustainable investing around different aspects of energy and physical infrastructure, but at the same time allow customers to have choice. Now, I think that in our portfolio, we have physical colocation where customers can build and deploy either by themselves or with increasingly with partners like Dell and HP and related as a service offerings within our walls where they have stronger opinion, or they might have say, could you help us operate some of that? And in that case, we're offering single tenant hardware as a service or branded kind of network instances or related to help customers build with our digital infrastructure primitives. Where I think we know is that Equinix's core value is as a digital infrastructure operator. And so we're trying to give those tools and those capabilities, hopefully in the most efficient and automatable way possible, and let our customers assemble those, hopefully in minutes, not months, to be able to create the outcomes that they want. And we understand that those are going to be relatively diverse and include a lot of different heterogeneity in the technology.
And you talked about multi-cloud. As much as we love to talk about multi-cloud, hey, you can have workloads on GCP, Azure, and AWS. But the fact is that cloud, they have the data gravity, and that migration can not only be expensive, it can be in many cases impossible. So when you get logged in, you're logged in. How do you look at that problem, and how does you folks kind of allow customers so they can mix and match, as you said?
Yeah, I think there's a big movement towards cloud adjacency, allowing customers to put the right thing in the right place. And so when you look at the platform that Equinix has, what we do is we really allow you to put, your data or your kind of data-heavy applications in the middle of all your clouds and partners. Because what we've seen is that with enterprises or service providers like Orange, it's not that they're leveraging maybe one platform; they're leveraging all. It's not like they're connecting to one counterparty digitally. They're connecting to hundreds or thousands. And so, we find that, our business model and where we're going to continue to invest for our customers is to give that neutral home and allow very cost-effective, programmatic, and easy access to all the clouds, all the networks, and all the customers.
Zach, thank you so much for taking time out today and not only talk about this partnership, but also share, the challenges that are there for network operators and, how things are evolving in the edge space. Thanks for sharing those insights. And as usual, I'd love to have you back on the show. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Swapnil.